It's Saturday, September 20th, 2025. Thanks for tuning in. Uh, a lot more stuff to talk about. It's unbelievable how relentless the news is and just how quickly the news is passing us by daily. This is coming from Reuters. Passengers stranded at Heathrow, other European airports. A cyber attack on a provider of check-in and boarding systems has disrupted operations at several European airports. This causing many delays and many cancellations. We talked about the situation that happened in Texas yesterday with their airports, and it literally shut two airports down in Texas yesterday. So now today, Reuters is reporting cyber attack, passengers stranded, airports shut down in multiple parts of Europe. What are your thoughts on this? This is becoming literally an everyday occurrence now with these cyber attacks. And what's going to happen when something really hits the United States and shuts down the financial system, shuts down transportation, shuts down food? I pray to God that you're all preparing and continuing to prepare. Here's another one today from MSN. Low-income Americans slash spending, a worrying sign for the economy. How many of you, let me ask you today, how many of you are slashing your spending? How many of you are noticeably cutting back on your spending and have been doing this? The stock market keeps powering along, yet the economy is facing growing headwinds. One of those is consumer spending. It says here, working class Americans are already up against waning wage growth and rising housing and electricity costs. People are increasingly dipping into their savings, if they even have any savings left at this point. Many are racking up more credit card debt, and many more are just extending it with buy now, pay later. I hope nothing happens. We talked about the top 10% of earners in this country literally carrying more than half the economy. I hope nothing happens to the top 10%, because if something happens to the top 10%, consumer spending is going to absolutely collapse. It says here, expect the consumer to dig themselves into even more debt during the holiday season. Shoppers will stretch well beyond their means. They're going to lean on credit cards. They're going to lean on buy now, pay laters. And they'll worry about the bills in 2026 next year. They want to mentally push those payments into 2026. It said here for parents, they're thinking that I'm not going to let my kids suffer because the economy is bad. That is really ignorant thinking. And think about the kids, the life your kids are going to have if you go bankrupt, if you lose everything, if you continue spending. I mean, people justifying this type of spending by making sure the kids have a good Christmas and that they're not going to suffer because of the economy. This is how people get themselves into very big trouble. If you can't afford to do it, if you can't afford the presents, the gifts, then you should not be buying them. And maybe you're just going to have to spend more time with your kids, maybe do something more constructive, maybe just get out of the corporatocracy that Christmas has turned into. But everything is about gifts, how much I can give my kids, right? And I'm just not going to let a little slow economy, a little bad economy slow me down. What happens in January? What happens in February, March if you have no money, but your kids have toys? It's really bad thinking. And this is how people get themselves into very big trouble. Maybe the intentions are good, but you better start looking ahead into January, February, March, and 2026, and not thinking about your kids' toys. That may sound callous. We are now in survival mode, ladies and gentlemen. Forget about Santa Claus. Forget about feeding the pockets of these corporations during Christmas. You're going to go broke. They're going to get richer. And what are we teaching our kids? That this is just a big corporate celebration? I think most people really lose what Christmas is really all about. I think they really lose their mindset because it's all about what am I going to get? What am I going to get? Or what am I going to give somebody? It's all about, you know, the gifts, the money. And that's really sad. Daily Mail. Americans have never had this much car debt. Experts warn it could start a 2000-like recession. What are your thoughts on this? Of course it could. I think it could. There's so much auto loan debt out there. $1.66 trillion of auto loans right now floating in the United States. And this is a bigger burden than student loan debt or credit cards. And by the way, this debt, this auto loan debt is up 20% since 2020. Inflation is putting the squeeze on people, and now we're seeing more missed car payments because people don't have anything left to make the car payment. They had to pay the gas bill. They had to pay the electricity bill. They had to put food on the table. And now there's nothing left to make the car payment, so the repo man shows up. This is really getting dangerous for so many people. Delinquencies, defaults, and repossessions have shot up in recent years. Last year, they repoed almost 3 million cars in this country. Nobody talks about it. I want to know, where are all these used cars? Where are all these repos at? Where are they hiding them? Why are they not coming back on the market? I'd love to know where they're at. If you know where they're at, comment down below. Maybe we'll go out there and shoot a video. It goes on to say it looks alarmingly similar to trends that were apparent before the Great Recession. Back in 2008, banks were approving car and home loans to poor families who could barely cover the monthly payments, but they still gave them the loan. And here we are today. Many people cannot cover these payments, at least not now, because their lives have changed over the last few years with inflation, with the cost of services going up, with gasoline prices going up, food prices going up, healthcare, HOAs, auto insurance going up, property insurance going up, all of it going up. Average new car payment is nearly $50,000. 1 in 5 Americans are paying over $1,000 a month. Then the average used car, $25,000. Insurance premiums on average in the United States right now are averaging around $194 a month. So when you look at the student loan debt, you look at the auto debt, you look at the credit card debt, you look at the buy now, pay later, you look at all of this debt, you look at people's rent payments, their mortgage payments, they took on these massive mortgages. People are cooked. Families in America are cooked. And millions are not going to be able to avoid these disastrous outcomes that are coming, ladies and gentlemen, like delinquencies and repossessions. They're coming. They've been coming for years now. The repo man has been extremely busy. The delinquencies are going to continue to pile up. The buy now, pay laters, the credit cards, the autos, the student loan debt, it's all going to continue to pile up. And I hope these people realize they have to pay interest on this. And I think a lot of people don't understand, when they repo your car, they're going to auction it off. You have to pay the difference. If your car is worth, if you owe $20,000 on it and they auction it off for $5,000, you still owe the difference, $15,000. People, I just don't think they realize what in the world is going on right now. I think a lot of people have mentally just checked out of this whole thing. I don't know. Comment down below. Here's another canary in the coal mine. Hamburger helper sales rise as Americans try to stretch their food dollars. So people driving around $1,000 plus month cars, and some of them are probably eating hamburger helper. Many are driving around with a $700, $800 car payment, and they're eating hamburger helper tonight. Nothing wrong with that. You got to do what you got to do. Sales of hamburger helper year to date are up almost 15%. Now remember, this stuff has got chemicals in it, it's high in sodium, it's got artificial dyes. It's not the healthiest thing to be eating, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And there are a lot of people out there eating hamburger helper tonight, this weekend, who have a $700, $800 car payment, even $1,000 car payment. People just don't think before they do these things. And I think that I'm still under the impression that people really don't look at the price of these cars. They don't look at the price of a house. They're looking at the monthly payment. Can I crack that monthly payment? And if everything goes all right and nothing breaks, there's no emergencies, there's no major inflation, yeah, you can do it. Don't lose a job. Spouse doesn't lose a job. If all the stars are aligned, you can do this. But think about taking on a house for 30 years. How many things can go wrong in 30 years? What could happen to the economy, the dollar, in 30 years? What could inflation do in the next 12 months, the next 6 months? The Genius Act will soon bring radical change to the U.S. economy using digital currency. Now remember, Putin, he said that the U.S. is going to do a crypto rug pull to erase its massive debt by creating a U.S. debt-based stablecoin system. So basically, they're gonna use one fake money to erase another fake money, and then have a new fake money that they can track every little thing you do, every little penny you spend with this stablecoin, this new stablecoin system. They're going to be able to watch you like a hawk. This is so dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. And I know people just believe, oh, this is so convenient. This is so trendy. This is so great. I can't wait for my stable coins, my stablecoin system. It's going to be so fast and amazing. You pay your babysitter a couple extra dollars. You want to tip somebody. You want to take care of the pool guy, the lawn guy, whatever. They're going to watch every last penny, and they're going to tax every last penny you spend, whether it's the pool guy, the babysitter, the landscaper, whoever. They're going to follow everything you do. We're going to lose so much freedom by accepting this new system. So dangerous. And then think about how vulnerable you are if the power goes out, if there's a cyber attack. What do we do then? What do we do with our stable coins if our computers don't work? There's no energy, there's no electricity. What do we do? Maybe they don't like the way you think. Maybe they don't like the way you vote. Maybe they don't like your religion. And, they put the pressure to you. They can shut you down. We've seen this taking place throughout the world now. America does it every day. We have 9,000 sanctions across the globe. We weaponize the US dollar. Now, they will weaponize the stablecoin system on the American people. Be very, very careful what you wish for, ladies and gentlemen. The government is now facing a criminally irresponsible debt crisis, one that it created, one that it pushed on upon the people, and the world is watching this, and the world is losing faith in the dollar. Not just losing faith in the dollar, the world is losing faith in the United States of America, and it's growing more and more disgusted with the crimes against humanity, the sanctions, the weaponization, the wars. The US dollar printing machines have funded this for decades, and the world is getting sick and tired of it. I love America. I'm loyal to America. I would never live anywhere else, but we got to call it the way we see it. We have literally abused the world. We have weaponized the US dollar. We started wars that were completely needless. We put, I don't know, what do we have, 12, 15, 1,800 military bases across the world, costing us trillions of dollars. What did we all get out of this? What is this all for? Yet I see China cutting deals across the world, and they're mining half the world now for rare earth minerals, gold, building highways, building railroads, from China to Iran, doing trade deals. I don't see them invading. I don't see them starting wars. Not to say that that's not possible. It'll probably happen in Taiwan. But we've been doing this for decades and getting away with it. It's cost us a lot of money and a lot of lives. What has it really been worth it? So ask yourself this: will they make all this debt disappear with more money pulled out of thin air? Think about this. Think about how the world looks at this right now. If we were to do something like this, we would take this monopoly money dollar and we would just basically erase it and bring in this new digital stable coin out of thin air and just basically start over, I guess. And maybe we want the world to accept it. Do you think the world is really going to accept this? I don't really think so, because it looks to me like the world, the global central banks, are stockpiling one thing. And that one thing is gold, and they're buying lots of it. So they want something physical, obviously. And I think that we become very, very vulnerable if we just have this digital money, this stable coin system. I think it's very, very dangerous, because it can be shut down very, very quickly. And that leaves everybody, including the United States, very, very vulnerable. That's how I see it. I think gold is much safer. I think it keeps you much more fiscally responsible. I think it prevents a lot of war. I think it does a lot of really, really good things. And I think that you have a strong currency and you have some accountability. Here's the last one today coming from Market Watch, why mortgage rates are actually going up after the Fed cut interest rates. Simple answer, because the dollar got weaker. And the dollar is going to continue to get weaker the more they cut these rates. I mean, I'm not an economist, I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm a C- student at best, but even I could figure out that when they cut rates, and we knew they would at some point, that inflation would kick back up, and that there was a good possibility that mortgage rates would begin to climb back up, and that's exactly what's going on. So get ready. You're going to see a weaker dollar. You're going to see more inflation. I hope everybody is preparing. It's a beautiful weekend. It's a good weekend to take a little bit of time and prepare. Me personally, I've got a really busy week coming up. A lot of packing, getting out of here in the next couple weeks. So we got a lot of packing to do. It's going to be a long ride, and I've got the dogs. I'm bringing the tortoises. So make sure to stay tuned. I'll be posting videos daily. Texas Silver will be flying out and driving back with me, so it should be pretty cool. We'll probably have a couple good stories to talk about. We'll be filming that. Of course, the dogs and just some of the beautiful scenery on the way back. So make sure to be tuning into that. Make sure to check out my Patreon. I'll be getting a video up this weekend on Patreon. And I'm going to leave it there. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. We are in very interesting times. And now, as we are getting closer to October, expect more big things to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I say this daily. It's not over. We're going to see a lot more action. More events are coming. So make sure you're prepared for anything. Make sure you're walking close to God. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Take care.